The Jamaica Labour Party's Fayval Williams was declared the winner of the St. Andrew Eastern constituency seat, beating the People's National Party's incumbent, Andre Hilton, by just over 150 votes in the last general election. Based on the results, Williams amassed 7,140 votes to Hilton's 6,983 votes. Hilton won the seat back in 2011 by 254 votes against then JLP candidate Dr. Sophia Longmore Drupinski. The seat, since it was formed in 1944, has been held by the JLP 5 times and the PNP 6 times during the period 1944 to 1955 and 1976 to present, when it regained its name as St. Andrew Eastern. Welcome to Women in Politics. I am Kadeen Miss Kitty Hilton, and today in our program we will sit with the first female member of Parliament for St. Andrew Eastern, Fayval Williams. She's a government minister, a mother and a wife. Come join us. Oh my goodness, Minister, thank you so much for having me and in your beautiful home. It's so great to see you. How are you doing?
Doing well today. Thank you so much for coming to my home.
Oh, lovely. And you're looking so beautiful. What is your skin care regimen? Because you have flawless skin. What's going on?
Flawless?
Yes.
You think so?
Yes.
Wow, that word has not been used with regards to my skin
You
before.
always look wonderful. You're always looking beautiful, always fabulous.
Well, believe it or not, it starts with how I clean my face.
Aha.
And I use lotion, believe it or not. Just ordinary lotion.
Lotion?
Just clean my face at night.
Oh, wow. I need to try it.
You should.
You see that? No. Okay, so lotion, keeping the skin moisturized.
Clean it, yeah.
Well, Minister, you are a woman that wears many hats. You're a mom, you're a wife, you're a government minister, and you serve so many people in your constituents. And we're very interested to find out more about you outside of the world of politics, as well as in the world of politics. Now, many persons would have known of your background, your very successful career overseas in the financial industry. But talk to me about your background. I want to go back in history to where you're from. Where in Jamaica is Fayval Williams from? Where did you grow up?
Sure, I am from a district in St. Catherine called Dixon.
Dixon, okay.
Dixon. It's way up in the mountains.
Yeah.
It's actually near to Worthy Park.
Okay.
If you're going to Worthy Park Sugar Estate,
Yes.
you go north, maybe 5 miles north.
Yes.
And there you will be. It's nestled in hills and valleys, and you know, I don't know how many people are living there at the time, but that's where I grew up. That's where I was born. That's where I
Yes.
went to primary school. That's where I
Yeah.
went to church.
Oh, wow.
Yes, before I left and went to high school at Ferncourt High School.
Oh,
so
Ferncourt.
Dixon in St. Catherine, that's
Yeah.
where it all began.
And talk to me about growing up there. How many brothers and sisters did you have? What was growing up in Dixon like for you back then?
Well, there were 9 of us.
Wow.
But not all of us were at home at the same time.
Yes.
Because with 9 children, they were older children, and they left and went off to school or to their profession.
Yes.
So at any one time at home, there might have been 3 or 4 of us. So I remember growing up with my younger sister,
Yes.
my younger brother, and an older sister. And, you know, others would come in and out during summertime.
Yes.
They'd come back and spend summer with us. And,
Yes.
Yeah, but...
So where did you fall in the 9?
Number 7.
Oh, number 7. Is
Yeah.
that your lucky number?
Yes, I think so.
Lucky number 7.
7.
So you're the 7th child, or the 7th of 9.
Yes.
Very well.
Yeah.
Well, so growing up with brothers and sisters, were you on the more tomboy side, or were you on the girly side? Were you outside in the trees running down, or were you with the dollies? What were you doing?
Exactly. I was on the girly side.
Girly side,
with
yeah.
dollies.
Yes.
Making clothes for dollies.
Yeah.
And cooking and... Yeah, the girly side. No,
Yeah.
I never wanted to climb a tree or do any of those things. I
Okay. So the femininity, darling, was always there.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your parents, growing up with them. Were they disciplinarians? What were some of the values and morals that they instilled in you from a very early age?
Right, so I grew up mostly with my mother, even though my mother and my father were married, and they remained married until both of them died. So I have that to look forward to.
Yes.
I have that as a role model. But my father was a carpenter.
Yes.
A builder of churches, Seventh-day Baptist churches all over Jamaica.
Wow.
So he was mostly not at home.
Yes.
But we understood why he had to
Because he's a provider.
Right.
Yes, and the Bible says a man who don't provide is worse than an infidel. So your father is a provider. Big up to the providers. Yay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But he would come home after jobs, had ended at these churches, and I remember him always coming at night on the night bus.
Yes.
And him always bringing candies for us.
Aww.
No, seriously.
Yeah. What was his name?
James Johnston.
Mr. James Johnston. And your mommy's name?
Myrtle Johnston.
Myrtle Johnston.
No, she was the disciplinarian.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about Miss Myrtle.
God, we had to go to school and we had to go to church.
Yes.
There was no excuse to go to church or school. But that wasn't an issue. For me, school, I woke up excited to go to school, like every day.
Yes.
Without, my mother didn't have to tell me to go to school.
Yes.
Or when I come home to do homework.
Yes.
It was like just an excitement
yes.
to learn from that early age. I was never one that was contentious either.
Yeah.
My brothers and sisters. I'd always
You're the reserved child.
Yeah. Too much noise.
You used to get beaten?
I've gotten beaten. Not many, but I would. I mean, I grew up in the days when parents beat children.
Yeah.
And if you did something, your mother would
discipline you.
Yeah.
Do you see any of Miss Myrtle's traits in you now?
Absolutely. Her reservedness.
Yeah.
Like, she would not talk much.
Yes.
And I'd come to her room, I don't talk much. But when she does, there was no confusion about what it is she meant.
Yes.
Right? If she said you had to be home by 6, you'll be there.
6 it is. And we ain't messing with that at all. Right. Miss Myrtle, you're crazy.
Right. So we were Sabbath keepers.
Oh, wow.
So on Fridays.
So you had your quarterly.
Right.
Yes.
Sunset.
Yes.
You had to transition from whatever you were doing to kind of get into this religious mode. And then Saturday, we go to church all day. You'd come home, lunch, go back to church and all of that. But it was a discipline that she instilled in us, like church, you just had to go to church.
Were you a Pathfinder?
No, it was Seventh-day Baptist, as opposed to Seventh-day Adventist. So there are different programs, so that they didn't have a Pathfinder at my church.
Yes.
But we had choir, choir.
Did you, were you
I
in the choir?
Absolutely.
Oh, girl. Were you on the alto or soprano?
I was probably in the back trying to sing. Trying to sing.
Yes.
No, but I was on the choir because we always had harvest time.
Yes.
You had the rally. You had all sorts of things to try to raise funds for the church to ensure the building.
Church building fund.
Oh God, it's always yeah.
Great, fabulous. So having that kind of discipline, growing up in a family and having that structure, how did that help you to excel at Ferncourt High School?
Wow, Miss Kitty, you did your homework.
Hello, girl. Yeah, you know how we do. Yes.
So in those days, we had to take common entrance or technical entrance, and I'm probably dating myself, right?
Don't worry about it. You're beautiful, honey. Yeah.
And so I had to go away to school.
Yes.
So with that comes boarding out with another family.
Yes.
And whatever that entails, meaning you're away from home, away from the comforts that you're used to.
Yes, and your safety net.
But it was exciting times still because, you were, I think I was 13, going on 14 at the time, and so you're feeling like,
you're invincible
person,
out there.
I'm growing up, I'm a woman.
Yes.
Right, so it was a great learning experience to be on my own because you had to take care of yourself. Even though you're boarding with someone, you had to take care of your own clothes, ensure Your
so
hair
sense of
was
responsibility.
Yeah, right. So it helped with that. You had to ensure you got to school on time.
Yes.
There's nobody waking you up. And
yeah. So at Fern Court, what was some of your favorite, how did you, in terms of subjects, you found that you would lean to the arts side or to the science side or to the business side?
Oh, I'd have to say to the arts side. So literature was...
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, darling. Charles Dickens, yes. Yes. Julius Caesar, et tu, Brute.
Right, yeah. So I remember...
Literature.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you migrated, so after Fern Court, you migrated to the United States.
So I actually graduated from Fern Court and then went to work in the financial sector.
All right.
Yes, I spent about 3 years at one of the large financial institutions.
Yes.
Started out as a teller, and that was a big job in those days.
Yeah, man,
it's still a big job.
Yes.
Yeah, but coming out of high school and getting a job with this big financial institution.
Yes. That was a thing. Yeah. And how did your family feel about that at the time?
Oh, very proud.
Nice.
Plus, also, when I was living in the country, I dreamt of living in Kingston.
Yes.
Like every time we get holiday, because my other sisters were living in Kingston.
Yes.
Every time we get holiday, I was like,
Kingston. Yeah, Tony God. Yeah.
Right. So of course, once I graduated and found out that I could come to town and work, oh man,
that was exciting
gone,
for you. Mm-hmm. So move me from the working as a teller at the financial institution to going abroad, getting your MBA, graduating from the Wharton Business School at the University of Pennsylvania. Your MBA is in financing, focusing on financing. Mm-hmm. You also you got a degree in economics from the Harvard University in Cambridge, Massachusetts. How did that journey help to shape who you are today?
So when I look back on all of that, and you've summarized it, but there was a whole lot in between all of those things you said. I left Jamaica in August of 1979.
Wow.
Yeah. Before you were born, maybe?
Yes. 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 I wasn't even considered yet. Yes. Yes.
If you remember back in the history of Jamaica, those were turbulent years, politically, economically. I remember going to the store and not being able to buy anything because it wasn't there on the shelf.
Yeah.
I remember the IMF program of the day and how restrictive it was. I remember having to buy things that they marry. Yeah, all of that. And as a young lady living in Kingston in an apartment, and I also took my younger sister with me to care for her and ensure that she was able to get further education as well. So living on a salary at the time, it was hard. Yes. It was hard to do so. So when the opportunity came to go away, because by then some of my older brothers and sisters had migrated.
Yes.
So when that opportunity came,
you took it.
I took it.
Yes.
Went to Massachusetts because that's where they were living.
Yes. Boston.
I know.
Yes.
Not quite in Boston City,
yeah.
but yeah,
Boston,
in that
vicinity
part of
area.
The world.
Yes.
And just recognizing that if I were to go beyond working at a McDonald's, and I'm not putting down a McDonald's, that's the job that I got to when I went there, I needed to get education.
Yeah.
And that started the journey. It started out with going to night school.
Wow.
Yes. Working full-time and then going to night school.
Yeah.
And then progressing from there to going to full-time college. Excelling. First of all, I went to a community college in Massachusetts. Excelled, and I remember the guidance counselor called me in her office one day, and she said, "Were you thinking about going to a 4-year college?" And I had no idea. And she goes, "I think you should apply to Harvard.
Yeah.
Oh, really? She goes, yes, your grades are that good. You're,
wow, wow. And Minister, as you're touching on that, there are many people who will watch this interview who are overseas and even here in Jamaica and all across the world. Women who, they have their families, they're working, they're thinking about going back to school, but they're kind of afraid and they don't know if they can manage. Having walked that road, what would be your word of encouragement to them in terms of their own self-actualization and fulfilling their dreams and their potential?
Well, let me say, when I went to Harvard, I was way older than students who go to Harvard. Meaning, you probably enter Harvard when you're 18 years old. I was 25.
Yes.
That means I'd graduate maybe when I was 27 because I did 2 years there. And you know what I said to myself? I'd rather be 27 with a degree than 27 without one. So whatever age you are, just say to yourself, I would rather be, if it's going to take you 4 years, I'd rather be that age with a degree than without.
Yeah. I like that, because some women, because of the age, you know, society sometimes dictates or says that when you can't achieve that, or that's not for you, or that time has passed. And so many people sit on their potential, sit on their dreams because they're listening to the noise of what other people
They're
will
limiting themselves instead of going out and just grabbing a hold of what it is that they want to do. Obviously, you have to order your life in order to be able to do that. But never at whatever age you are, never think you're too old to get more education, more whatever it is that you want.
I love that, love that. So you're doing very well. So you graduated and you got, you know, you had a stellar financial career in the United States, and then you came back to Jamaica.
Wow, by that time, I met my husband.
Hey! Big up, Huzzy. I gotta tell you, yes.
Yes, I met him in business school.
Oh, wow.
Yes. At the University of Pennsylvania.
Okay. Yes. What's his name?
Leo Williams.
Okay, hi, Mr. Williams. How are you? And you have been in school working hard because you've always been focused. So when did you find time for love?
You know, it's in doing extracurricular activities.
Excusez-moi, yes.
I think there was like a Caribbean club, or maybe I think it was a Caribbean club we had, and so that's where all the
so
people
he's Jamaican?
He's Jamaican.
Okay, very well, very
well. Yes. So we met and
you dated.
Yes. He was a year ahead of me.
Yes. So what did you fall in love with? What attracted you to Mr. Williams?
You know. He wrote me a note. Yes.
Tell us about the note.
What? I forget. I had to ask him about some homework that I had.
Yes.
And I can't exactly remember the sequence, but I remember we used to have like the equivalent of postbox at the school where the teachers would put, you know, whatever they're handing out into those boxes. So I remember this day I went to my box to retrieve my things, and there was this note that says, "Oh, I'd love to help you with your homework."
No, if Mr. Williams go to one more time, no sir. I saw when man want woman, I take something better home. But not like if I have a buzz. Yes. So you saw the note and that just wooed you.
Right. But I met him. I mean, I knew him before.
Yes.
But somehow, he just figured the best way to get to you was to write me this note.
Yes.
I'd love to help you with your homework.
Yes.
And anything else you need help with.
Beautiful. Yeah. So that relationship blossomed and it went on to dating and then marriage.
Yes.
When did you get married? Tell me your exact date. Or before we even get to the wedding date, how did he propose to you?
Oh, actually it was here in Jamaica.
Okay, tell me about it.
Yes, we had come just on a vacation.
Yes.
And I remember being at his aunt's home. We were sitting on the veranda and he proposed.
Oh, okay. And then you said, did you cry? Did you like, oh my God, I can't believe. How did you react when he proposed?
I'll think about it.
Oh my goodness, yes. And then you eventually said yes.
Oh, no, I said yes.
Yes, yes.
That night I did not just like this.
Yes. Roughly just a
bit.
Yes, yes, yeah. And what would you say has been the best part about being married?
the stability
Yes.
that it gives you.
Yes.
I think you can come home from wherever, work, whatever, and you can know that you're coming home to solace.
Yes.
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 To someone who won't necessarily judge you.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's perfect.
You're coming home to your
yeah.
safe space.
Yeah.
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 And so the exact wedding date was when?
Oh, jeez.
Yes. Minister, you have to remember the wedding date, the anniversaries. We're going to ask Mr. Williams. But it's all right. She has a lot on her plate if she doesn't remember that.
August 19.
August 19, that is right. Lovely. Right. My mom is born in August, so that's a good month. Lovely. And how long have you been married?
Oh, wow. Our older daughter, we have two daughters.
Yeah.
We have two daughters. 27. So we've been married now for 29.
Oh wow,
years,
29 years.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And in terms of your family, your children, because oftentimes we see you in your very professional role, we see you in Parliament, we see you in your constituency. What is Mommy Fayval like?
Wow, that's a question that would be best asked of our daughters.
Yeah.
But I think I know I'm very supportive of them. Would do anything for them.
Yes.
A lot of times they refuse because they think I'm being too mommy-ish,
Yeah.
too I cook, but they don't want to eat what I cook. So I let them.
Yeah.
I think my younger daughter, who's here now because the older one is away, like every day, practically every day, I hug her.
Oh, lovely.
And I remember doing a survey. There was a survey that I needed to do, and of her, right? And one of the questions was, how often does your parents hug you? Right? And she was like, every day. I just didn't think she noticed.
Yeah.
And it was, yeah.
Yeah. And how important is that, Minister? Because some parents, believe in disciplinarian, and that is good, but then I believe that it has to be balanced with some love, affection, reassurance, and compassion. How important is that for just the development of our children today?
Extremely important, because our children look to us as parents, as role models. Remember that they're in an environment where, while growing up, they don't know much of anything else. It's the interaction between the parents, between the brothers and sisters or other relatives that are in the home, that they will use as this is how it should be.
Yes, as their compass, as their guide.
And so if it isn't a good, strong, healthy relationship, you'll find persons will have problems because they will think, okay, that's the way.
That's a norm.
That's a norm.
Yeah. So after getting married, coming back to Jamaica, did you have on your radar any intention to get into representational politics, let alone being the first female member of Parliament for St. Andrew Eastern? How did that happen?
All that come together? Wow. Well, the decision to come back to Jamaica was really my husband's.
Yes.
He had a relationship with a company here, and had an agreement to come back and begin a subsidiary of the company. And I was in Boston with 2 children and a high-flying job. It's like, Jamaica? But eventually we came to an agreement.
Yes.
And I took leave from my job to be here in Jamaica. It was going to be temporary. And I thought I'd come to Jamaica and just kick back.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Everything Irie.
I know.
No problem, man. Yes.
Yeah, every weekend I'd be someplace else on the island.
Yes.
To enjoy it, but that was not to be.
Yes.
I guess my business side just comes out every
Yes.
time. And before you know it, I was working for another financial institution here in Jamaica. And a temporary job led to a permanent job.
Yes.
And
the rest is
history.
Yes.
Yeah. But in terms of the politics, when I say to people, politics has been moving in my soul for a while, they look at me with the look you gave me, like, what does that mean?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can remember as a child going to political rallies.
Yes.
Not because my parents were political. This was at the time when I'd moved away to go to high school, and the persons I lived with, they were kind of a little bit political, but, you know, and they go to, meaning they were interested in the politics.
Yes.
And I accompanied them to political rallies. So from that age, it kind of stirred within me. And there are things I remember as a child kind of thinking to myself in terms of the politics. For example, you know, a particular government might be in and they start a program, and then another government comes in and they
dismantle.
And I'm like, oh, why?
Yes.
If it works, why wouldn't you consider it? So those were the kinds of questions. But I really became interested in it when I started living in this community where I am, and took on being the president of the association.
Yes.
And I also met then the MP at the time, MP Bartlett.
Yes.
St. Aubin Bartlett, and we had a very good relationship. And one day he said to me, "Why don't you, really?"
Yes.
Oh, no. And since, you know, I started going to meetings and started to become more involved. And when the opportunity came to step forward, I said, why not?
Yes. Why not Fayval?
Why not? Yes. Did I think at the time I would be a minister? No, that was the furthest thing from my mind.
Yes. Did you ever think you'd be the MP? So, for example, the night that the results came in and you came out victorious over the incumbent People's National Party, Andre Hilton, what was going through your mind at that time, and how did you feel?
Okay, so leading up to that, because I stepped out, I raised my hand early in the game, meaning I indicated that I'd like to run to be the MP maybe a year and a half before any election was called. And that's unusual, they tell me. I didn't think it was unusual. I thought, you know, you had to go in there and get to know the place and the people, and it was, you know, it was like 28,000 persons living in the constituency. I felt you just needed that long runway.
Yes.
But I found out later that's not the case. People generally come in much earlier, you know, to the time for the election. But that gave me enough time to know the lay of the land.
Yes.
To know what my strengths are, to know what the weak side was of my opponent.
Yes.
And so I exploited that. Because I come from country.
Yes.
And because I had a mother who was always sharing, so if we got something, she would make sure she'd call over and say, "Miss Tiny, you know, have some yam."
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
You want a piece of yam?
Yes.
You know, and people are always coming as well, bringing stuff to our home. You know, they went to the bush and, you know, they had a banana.
So that communal living.
Right.
Yes.
And so it was easy to relate to people.
Yes.
Across the spectrum. The constituency consists of probably 60% inner city communities.
Yes.
With different roughness or, you know, just different
needs.
Whatever.
Yes.
Different needs and so about it. But I could relate to persons, right? Because I saw myself in that position.
Yes.
Meaning the only difference between me and persons in inner city who feel they don't have a chance to get out, the only difference is the opportunity set that my life journey took me to versus theirs.
Yes.
And what caused that? Education.
Education, yes.
And so for me, looking on any person in this inner city, what I see is potential in that person, and a way, well, I wish that when I speak to them about getting training, moving from where they are to where they want to be, that it's internalized more and they see it, they grasp it.
So as the MP then, Minister, talk to me about what have you put in place, because your constituency is made up of different, as I said, persons with different needs, and you have highlighted by your own life how important and integral education is. What are some of the programs that you have put in place to help those persons with the potential to get it moving?
Okay, so off the bat, first day in as Member of Parliament, I took on a project to improve a community center in Backbush.
Yes.
So got computers in, got internet connection. It took several months to get it done.
Yes.
And I began to engage the hearts, engage some of the BPO sector to come in and begin training. And we've trained persons who went on to get in jobs and so on. I remember even bringing in a program to do blueprint reading, so persons who are interested in the construction industry, they could understand what a blueprint is when they go to work on a construction site. Yes. But even if they wanted to do their own home as well, they understood in a more formal, structured way, what it is, rather than just draw out something and put up some blocks and steel. You understand straight lines and weights and balance and so forth. Yes. So that was one of the first projects that I did. Yes. And it's continuing. And today, if you walk down to Backbush, you'll see the center. Yes. And there are still programs going on there right now. I wish I could do way more of that across the constituency. But in other communities, I've begun repairing as well the community centers that I find in these communities.
They say the hands that rock the cradle rule the world. And as a female in politics, as a female in Jamaica, how are you, and through your policies, have you empowered women in your constituency so that they too can step out and conquer and be the best version of themselves?
Well, again, it has to be through training. So the training is not limited to just young people, persons who are on an age. We've talked about literacy programs to start them out that way if that's where they are at the moment. Yes. But it has to be through education and training. I don't see any other sustainable way. I know that there are some get rich quick kind of schemes, but those are not sustainable. It has to be through education. You have to be trained so that when you come in contact with the opportunity, you're ready. Yes. Right?
Now, the rigors of campaigning are real.
Yes.
How have you managed to navigate those rigors? And of course, underground politics tends to be testosterone driven. How do you, come in with your estrogen and do all that you have to do?
So
and
on the ground, well, Miss Kitty, on the ground, it is person to person. Yes. It is not testosterone driven. It's person to person. And the contrast that I bring is not to be, how do I put it? To be this kind of person that is solid, not reactive. Because you're going to come upon a lot of situations where people are frustrated.
Yes. How do you deal with that, the negative pushback? Because I'm sure not everybody loves Fayval, and when you come, everyone say, "Hey, Minister, come."
I know, right.
I say, like she,
Yes.
I see she from,
And they might have asked me for something, and I haven't provided it yet.
Yeah, carry the booklets, come here, and she doesn't give me nothing. I'm too like she.
So you know what, Miss Kitty?
Yes. How do you treat with that?
You just listen.
Yeah.
To what it is the person has to say. And if you can say, okay, I recommit to doing this thing that I said I was going to do for you.
Yes.
Or if you can't, you said, I really can't do it this time.
Yes.
But you listen, you don't, how should I say it?
React in an abrasive way.
Yeah, you just listen. Yes. Because 100% of the time, once they're able to talk what it is that they're feeling, you just go.
You can diffuse it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I noticed that your hairstyle, right? is low cut and blonde. Was that by design? Or blonde or what, a 27 30 type of vibe? Is that your style? Do you do long
I've
hair?
always had short hair.
Yeah? Okay.
Always.
Because of the ease? Why?
No. I mean,
Here to go.
my hair was just short.
Yeah.
I was just born with short hair.
Yes.
And you remember when, you were not around then, when Afro was in style.
I've seen pictures, but I wasn't around. Yes.
I loved the Afro.
So you had an Afro?
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
The whole time.
Okay.
But my hair is naturally short.
Yeah.
It was never long. And I'd love to keep it like this because it's easy. You wake up.
Here to go.
Yeah.
And you're a busy woman, so time is of the essence.
Yes.
They say self-praise is no recommendation, but based on your tenure since winning back in 2016,
yes,
how would you grade your efforts and your accomplishments and what you have done thus far?
I would give myself...
Out of 10.
Oh, out of 10.
Yes.
I was going to think of a letter grade, but out of 10?
Yes.
I would give myself 8.5.
Very well.
And that's because there are so many things more to be done. But when I sit and tally what it is that I've been able to do in the 4.5 years that I've been there, you know, I look at it and said, yes, this was worth coming into politics. And persons have said it to me in terms of them knowing, them being there and having gone through different member of parliament. Yeah. They know the scope of work then, and they can contrast it. Right.
Yes.
And so in every single community, what I ensured was that there was something tangible that I could point to having done. In addition to all the help, that the individual help that you give, I said, I want to have something that I can point to and said, I caused that to happen.
Is that a part of is that a part of your legacy, your political legacy?
Right.
Yes.
So something that people can look at and say,
yes,
Ms. Williams did that. So it's the community centers. It's bringing computers in for the first time. It's doing roads that were never done in 40 years. Wow. Right.
And by the way, may I ask, Minister, there are two parties in Jamaica. Why did you choose the JLP, or did you choose the Jamaica Labour Party, or did they choose you?
Both.
Okay.
A little bit of both. Because remember I said I got to know St. Aubin Bartlett, and the relationship developed from there. So it's a little bit of both.
It's a bit of both. Yeah, and are you happy with your choice?
Absolutely happy. Absolutely happy. Happy because as a government, I see us as being responsive to Jamaicans. I see us as being hardworking.
Yes.
When I look around the table at the ministers, every single one of them, in my mind, is putting out the full 100 to do the work to get things done for Jamaica, because we all believe that Jamaica can be better. Yes. Significantly better in our lifetime. And that is the message that we want to get through to Jamaicans, to say, this community that you're born into, guess what? It could be miles ahead of where it is right now. Yes. Right? But we all, as Jamaicans, and I'm going to go back to education, we have to embrace that in a way that, I know, no, seriously, but you know what though? When you look across Jamaica, every single mother that has a child, parent, mother, father, they wake up and they ensure that the child goes to school. Yes, so they know of the importance of education. Yes. And children go to school through high school, but then something happens along the way that causes them to lose interest, to stray, to do other things. So we have a lot of work still to do. What's Fayval's next big thing? We're on the cusp of an election. What is it that you have? Why your constituents should again entrust you with their lives, their development, their growth, and of course, what is in their best interest? Why should they choose Fayval Williams? Well, I would say to them, look back at the past 4.5 years, your interactions with me, look at your community, look at your individual life, and your interaction or whatever help I might have given you along the way.
Yes.
And compare that with what you have known in the past. And if I have excelled, then I should be given the chance to go back to continue the work that I've been doing. So in communities like Hermitage,
yes,
I conceptualized and got built, I call it the Hermitage Performing Arts Stage in the park.
Oh, wow.
And my vision was, on Sundays, kids playing in the park, you could have a little music,
yes,
you could have children reciting, doing skits and whatever. That's the vision I had for that community, and they loved it. The park is there, and we'll probably see it when we go there.
Excited, yes.
But I want to say to persons, especially persons in the inner city, who may think they don't have opportunity or they're limiting in their thoughts. Your potential is so much greater than you imagine.
Yes. But you have to definitely put in the work to get the results.
To get it.
I want to know, your name is very unusual, Fayval. Who gave you that name? And
I understand.
What does it mean? It's either Faye or Valerie. You're Miss Myrtle, put the two of them together.
No, I understand. It's my oldest sister that do it. And when I asked her, she said, "Oh, I knew somebody with that name."
Yeah. What's your middle name?
Shirley.
Okay, Fayval Shirley. You know, say, pick up Miss Myrtle. Why? I love it. Yes, yes. So Fayval Shirley Williams. Very well. Okay.
At the time, it was Fayval Shirley
Johnston.
Yes,
right.
yes.
Now Williams. Very well.
Yes, yes.
I got to tell you, Minister, it's really great speaking to you. And I know that you are a big reader. We're in your wonderful kitchen right now. But do you have a favorite place in your home? What's your favorite
Sure,
place?
I do. But before I go there, may I offer you something to drink?
Oh, sure. Thank you so much, Minister. I would like a glass of wine.
Oh, wow.
Yes, English. Nobody that means so. It's a catch a bring or something. You have to drink wine.